That is right, everybody. We are back from the dead, here to bring you another episode of the year as we're going to tackle May. I am the BrettMan. This is Destiny. Destiny, how are you doing today?
Good. Doing good.
Doing good. Good. I'm glad you're doing good. Glad you're here. I'm glad everybody's here in the chat. I understand this is Memorial Day weekend, so I know a lot of people are like out and about partying and all that. So if that is the case and you're watching after the fact, hopefully you all had a great Memorial Day. But we'll see who's in the chat, who's joining us right now. Lamantra, what's going on, my friend? Yo, Adrian, how you doing? We got Ashens in the house. We got Cody Snyder saying good morning. Good morning. It is the afternoon here. And Chase from Moser Movie Reviews. How are you doing, Chase? Brother Fluff in the house. So not as much people, but again, we understand with it being Memorial Day and all that. So that's it. I'm going to have to ask the question. Are you working Memorial Day tomorrow?
No, but that's only
Yeah.
because I took it off, or else I would be.
Well,
So,
good thing you had the
no.
day off tomorrow, so you could just hang out, relax, and just get in the Memorial Day spirit tomorrow. So that's awesome. And Cody Snyder, yeah, man, repping the Killer Clowns. Yeah, That's one of the movies we'll be talking about, and this is one of the T-shirts I bought on my mini vacation. So I'm excited to find it. So thank you, Cody. So let's see here. So yeah, just in case if anybody's new here from Back from the Dead, what we do on this show is we talk about the horror movie anniversaries. We can't talk about all of them because we'll be here for like 6 to 10 hours, and if that is the case, Destiny will kill me, and I don't want to be killed. So she only allowed me like at least 2 hours tops. So we want to make sure we respect that time. So nah. But she will kill me if I go over for a long time. So what we
Dude, I would just
decide,
leave.
yeah,
Honestly, after three
no,
hours, I'd be like, okay, and just close
yeah,
out.
no, we would be done unless if it's trivia or anything like that. I'd be
That's
done.
different.
Okay, that is different. Which hey, I am planning Boys versus Girls 2 in July, so you better get your girl team ready.
We're
Better
ready.
get your girl team ready. So to reduce the time, what we decide to do is we're going to go for the movies to the integrals of five. So for 2023, we're going to do years that end in the numbers 3 and 8. For example, 2008, 2003, 98, 93, and etc. And we're also going to celebrate 1 year anniversaries because they do need their recognitions as well. So let me check the chat one more time to see if anybody else has snuck in here, which Mark Jones did. Love Killer Clowns from Outer Space. And don't worry, we're getting ready to talk about that here very, very quickly. Damn, Brother Fluff, you got to do inventory at 4 a.m. tomorrow? Shit.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That
Like
shit
that.
sucks. Like inventory
Yes.
stuff. Well, like doing stuff like that is better than dealing with people, in my opinion, though. Because
Mm-hmm.
if I ever have to do that, I'm alone. I put both headphones in, and I'm just, which I don't do it often,
Podcasting.
though.
Yeah,
But
so high five to that, bam. So, hell yeah. So, but Brother Fluff, sorry, 4 a.m. does suck, but you know what? As Destiny brought out, that is a good plan. It's kind of like you time. So you don't
yeah,
have to deal with people. So let's see here. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. So, Destiny, I do not have anything from like 70s and below. Did you find anything from the 70s and below?
I found one movie from 1968,
Ooh.
which I have not seen, but I thought I would mention it, and it's Witchfinder General. It has
Okay.
Vincent Price in it, and I watched most of that. I can't remember what it's called because it's like a long title, but it's a documentary on Shudder about like folklore, and that was one of the movies mentioned. And so I do want to watch it at some point, but that's the only thing I found.
Okay. And how was that documentary, by the way? Because I've been meaning to check that one out.
I liked it. I still have to finish it because it is a little bit longer. I was like watching it at work, and so like I got
Mhm.
busy, and then I just never picked up like back on it. But I did like it because that's like a subgenre that I am like so not familiar with. I've only seen like a few movies. So it's really cool because there's like a lot of those type of movies, especially in like the 60s and 70s, because it reflects what's going on in the world. So it's pretty interesting. I just have to finish it.
All right, awesome. I plan on adding it to my watch list because my watch list is kind of running low on the documentary side of things. So I cannot wait to tune that out. And great find on that particular movie. So let us go to the 80s. I did not find anything for 83. Did you find
Oh,
anything? Oh, go ahead.
sorry. There was one more movie I found in 1973,
Okay,
and
go for
I
it.
it's called Messiah of Evil, and I am almost positive this is one of the movies that they showed on Elvira's 40th special. I need to double check honestly, but I think it is one of those movies because I remember the poster for it. And if so, I have seen it. I don't remember anything though from that night. Honestly, I remember watching the Elvira movie and House on a Haunted Hill. After that, I like blacked out. I was awake, but I think I was gone at that point.
I bet
So
you were
I
mainly there just for Elvira, though.
exactly. Which like I kind of didn't like that they showed her movie first because that was like the really like exciting one, and the
Hmm.
rest of them were so like slow, and I was just like
Damn.
slowly dying off. But I stayed awake that freaking entire night, and I was really proud of myself because that went on
Hell yeah.
forever.
Hell yeah, and you've been doing good so far with the last drive-in, haven't you? Because they get late into the night as well.
Some of them, there's some
So
of them. Also, I just double checked. That was one of the movies she showed, so I have
excellent.
seen it. I literally don't remember like anything though.
Don't remember anything, and yeah, and real quickly, because I was on mini vacation and I got to get into the Central Time Zone. I love Central Time Zone. So I'm not sure. Like, have you experienced any ever time zones? I know we're getting left off real quick because I've been meaning to mention that because on my main vacation, I was like, God, I got done with all these shows and it's still like 9 o'clock, so I could do whatever the hell I want. So that's awesome. So what do you feel about that? Do you like your Central Time Zone or
Yeah, I like it. I wish I was like on like the coast
Mountain
because they're
Pacific?
yeah because they're 2 hours behind me. I
Hmm.
want that because the last drive-in starts at 6 o'clock and
Oh,
is done by like before midnight or
midnight.
around midnight. I'm like, I want that. The only thing I've ever experienced is jumping like ahead. Like I went to Florida and I went to Ohio, and those are all an hour ahead of us. So it
Eastern.
wasn't like it was just oh, I was like looking at my phone. I was like, oh shit. All right, we're still on the same time now. Like it was weird, but I've never experienced like going back, which I would like to. That way, because I think I would
Hmm.
like that more.
No,
It's
you
just
would
everything
definitely
the
like that.
earlier the better.
No, seriously, and that's why that's like when I came back home at Eastern time, I legit lost an hour of my day. I'm like, this fucking sucks.
It's
Uh,
weird. I don't like it.
yeah, yeah. So you will not like Eastern time. So I saw more people in here. Let me get them. If we got Aaron Click, what's going on? We got Sebastian, what's going on? Rosie, my dear, here is your rose. How are you doing? And let's see here. And yeah, Chase is a California guy. Is
Yeah,
910 right now where he is. So he's
that's
just waking
crazy.
up to some Back from the Dead.
That'd be nice though.
Oh, so nice. Except for doing this show, you first immediately wake up and you
Oh,
immediately have to do this show.
absolutely not doing a show at 9 a.m.
I do not blame you. And Gavin, what's going on, my friend? How are you doing?
Hi,
So
Kevin.
let's see here. All right, that is all. Oh, Cody said earlier, I love that cover, Destiny. Witchfinder General Vincent Price had a birthday yesterday. Christopher
Hmm.
Lee, too. Yeah, a lot of people's having birthdays. Did you think you said there was another birthday yesterday? I think from one of your posts. Lene.
Linnea Quigley. Yes, there's a
Yes.
lot of birthdays yesterday. It was pretty crazy.
And today, because I saw it was who played Tree and Happy Death Day. It was her
Yeah,
birthday today as
Jessica
well.
Roth, I believe, is her
Yes.
last name.
Mm-hmm.
It's her birthday as well. And like, there's been just birthdays after birthdays, and Mia's birthday's coming up. I have another friend's birthday's coming up. Like, it's all
Yeah.
clustered.
Yeah, my one of my in town best friend, his birthday's coming up in 2 weeks, so I'm gonna have to figure out something for that. And yeah, like you said, Mia, our fellow Screen Warrior, she has a birthday, so we'll be sure to celebrate it. And I'm sure you
Hmm.
got her something really good.
Yes, of course.
Excellent. So let's go ahead and All right, checking the chat. We're good there. So let's go ahead with the movies I finally found on this list. I found three from 1988, and all these are pretty much banger after banger after banger. So I'm just going to mention all three, and we'll just have a general discussion on them. The first one is Maniac Cop was released on May the 13th of 1988. So that would be the first one. And I finally got around to watching it with one of my 14 days of new horror movies for my series I'm doing right now. Maniac Cop was one of them that I had to watch and really enjoyed it. And of course, we got Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood, that's released on also Friday the 13th, so May 13th of 1988. And lastly, where most of the chat has been saying it already, and it had its anniversary yesterday, 35. Killer Clowns from Outer Space was released yesterday, May 27th of 1988. So, Destiny, I'll just let you pick a movie and just what do you think about it?
We'll go in order. Oh, before we get to that, Gavin said his birthday is June 2nd. And then Cody
Oh, yeah.
says that his is the 16th. So happy early birthday, both of y'all.
Yes.
That's
So
freaking cool.
I'll do a little song real quick. Happy birthday to you guys. You guys are awesome. Happy birthday, you guys. You guys are awesome. There we go.
That was beautiful. Thank you for that.
No
Um,
problem. And Cody Snyder, he's a patron of ours, so we'll give him a special birthday on that his day too.
Hell
For
yeah.
Goodwill
Also,
Hunting.
I would like to mention that my moon sign is a Gemini. So,
Oh.
yeah, my sun is a Capricorn, but my moon is a Gemini. And when my friend Raina, her sun sign is a Gemini, her moon is a Capricorn. So ours are like flipped.
Ooh.
Pretty cool stuff.
I don't even know how you find your moon. I tried it once before and I just quit. And then
There's
someone
a
told me,
website. As long as you know, like, the information, like the day where you should have a time, like
mm-hmm.
it's more specific if you have like a time. As long as you know that, there's like this website called Astrology like Cafe, and it will tell you everything. If you just put in your information, it will give you everything.
Okay,
So
well, I'm definitely going to do that today because I know I'm an Aries. I just
yeah,
didn't know the other stuff, and I've always been curious what it is and what it means. And Calver's dog, what's going on? Say your moon sign. What are you, a Power Rangers? Oh, come
yes,
on, Calvert dog.
the pink one.
Oh, you'd be the pink. See, I thought you'd be the yellow one. Be the
I just like
badass
pink.
doing high jump kicks and
I
everything.
would like to do that, but we're pink.
There you go. Metallic, what's going on, my friend? And Evil Alex, what's going on? Because guess what? His mom's birthday is today. So happy
Happy
birthday to
birthday!
your mom. Everybody's having damn birthdays. This is awesome.
Damn.
And then Chris Snyder, what's going on, my friend? We're about to talk about the movie that you suggested me to watch for 14 days of new horror, and that is Maniac Cop. So, Destiny, what are your thoughts about Maniac Cop?
I love Maniac Cop. I watched that for the first time on the last drive-in because they did a double feature of the first and the second one, which I also enjoyed the second one. Even though they do some things that I don't really like, but that first movie is so good. It's so much fun. It's actually one that I need to rewatch because I've only seen it a couple of times when that episode aired. So I need to watch it again. But it was so much fun. Tom Atkins, yeah, Bruce Campbell.
Mm-hmm.
What else could you want? And like the cop, the maniac cop, looks so good. Just like, and I love the whole like aesthetic of the movie. It's just one of those movies that when you like watch so much like 80s horror movies and then you're like, oh, like what else am I gonna watch? And then you find something like Maniac Cop and it's like, hell yeah. So I love that movie.
Yeah, and this was during the time too where I felt like a lot of horror movies were starting to try to develop that like New York setting because it wasn't too long after Maniac Cop, Jason Takes Manhattan goes to New York, which I get it. Vancouver takes a boat ride, I get it, but I feel like they were starting to like play into the New York setting, and this is one of the first ones that I think I know of that really like tackles the New York setting very well. So I was really impressed with Maniac Cop, like you said, Tom Atkins and Bruce Campbell. Oh my god, already what a freaking pair in this movie, even though one of them doesn't last very long, which was sad.
Mm-hmm.
But
Oh, wait till
yeah.
we get to the second one.
No, dadgummit. But
It's
like,
so bad.
but Maniac Cop, I was really impressed. Just how they used New York City, and like you said, the actual cop himself looked phenomenal. And also really loved like how the '80s, as just the '80s in general, how they do their flashbacks. They legitimately feel like flashbacks, and this movie is absolutely no different.
Hmm.
And it's a good backstory because like a good villain is someone you kind of feel sympathy towards too, and you can feel a little bit, even though he doesn't do the greatest of things with it. But other than that, Maniac Cop, I really had a great time with it, and I'm
Hmm.
definitely checking out the Ever 2 when I can.
Yeah, Gavin says that I need to watch Cop. I feel like you would really like it. I
Hmm.
thought for some reason you had already seen it, so I feel like you would really like it, Gavin.
Yeah, and just in case, Gavin, this is on Tubi right now, so you can check it out on Tubi and Vudu for free, but that's with ads. Tubi has ads too, but not as annoying. Even though someone brought up a good point, actually, with the technique, you could just play the movie all the way to the end, rewind it, and then bam, play it.
Hmm.
Yeah, so
Maybe
I
I'll
thought
do
that
that.
was a really cool technique, which I kind of wish I knew that earlier, but that's okay. So that is Maniac Cop. So the next one is the most underrated movie in the Friday the 13th franchise, in my opinion, and that is The New Blood. Absolutely love this movie. I know what someone's going to say. It's Carrie 2.0 versus Jason. And you know what? Seventh movie in the franchise. I'm okay with that. We need to do something different. We need to do something fun. And not only did we get something fun, we also get the best version, the best looking version of Jason in the franchise with the chain, the spine. And of course, it's our introduction to Kane Harder, too. So I really love this movie. I've been meaning to change my score to a 4 out of 5 because I think it's just finally time to acknowledge that. But man, what a movie! What are your thoughts about Part 7? Because I know you're a fan of it too.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you. It's not one that I watched too much as a kid. Like I do remember it somewhat, but I watched like 6 and like 8 and then like the original 4 really the most as a kid. But 7, as I've gotten older and like rewatched it, because I went back and like tried to rewatch most of the Friday 13th movies because I hadn't seen them in so long, and I enjoyed it so much more than like I ever remembered. Because it is not a movie that is super well loved. There's definitely a group of people that enjoy it a lot, but it's
Mhm.
not like highly rated, like like 6 or 4 or anything like that. But like you said, we get Kane Hodder. I love this look at Jason. It is my favorite like figure that I have because it just
Mhm.
looks so freaking cool.
And you
Love
got
the
his
bat.
mask.
Yes, that is true. And
Mhm.
I think Kane Hodder is great, and all the shit that they freaking did to him through this movie is so good. And I feel like, people obviously when people talk about 7, they mention the Carrie stuff, but also how the kills are like cut down and everything. And like that does suck. Like I know like that sucks. I would much rather see gorier kills, but
Mhm.
also I don't like to hold that against the movie because like it's not the movie's fault. It's not what they
Right.
wanted. It's not what they freaking shot. It's just what happened. So yeah, I don't hold it against the movie. I feel like
Yeah.
it's not really fair. And like John Carl Buechler, the guy that directed it, I just have like a soft spot for him. And he passed away like I think in like 2016 or 17. And
Oh,
he
did he
wasn't even that
really?
old or anything, and he passed away. And so I don't know. I feel like I just have a soft spot for him, and like so I just I enjoy Part 7 a lot.
Yeah, and people are Scout Dog said the sleeping bag kill definitely awesome. Many
Yeah,
memorable kills, which like you were referring to, they cut it back, but that was during the time where the MPAA decided to be a bunch of assholes and to take away all that. But if you have the box set right here and watch those deleted scenes, if they would have kept them in the movie, I promise you, Part 7 would be in my top 3 of the Friday the 13th franchise, hands down.
yeah,
Because with what they were wanting to do with that movie was just absolutely awesome, like in the kill department, and it's just like it just sucks. I'm not sure why the MPAA didn't have like had to do what they did.
yeah. They're really freaking rude, honestly.
Hmm.
Wasn't the director of Part 7 the guy? Yes, he is the guy in Hatchet 2 that gets killed.
Oh,
And because he
the
does
one
like
having sex.
No, he's like one of the guys that's like on the boat, and he has like the eye.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, because he does like effects, and so like he wasn't really a director, but he does like special effects, and like that was his like
Mhm.
main job. But yeah, he was also in Hatchet too, which is really cool.
Oh,
Also, I
awesome.
agree with Galford's dog about the sleeping bag kill. I think that is like one time where when they cut it down, it actually worked in their favor because I
Mhm.
like the one more than the multiple because I think the one is like, oh shit, like he's fucking serious, you know? So I do think that that did work out in their favor. The rest of it, though, not so much.
Yeah, and Victoria actually brought up the exact same point you just did when we did our watch party for it. Victoria legit said that she thinks like the movie improved with just that sleeping bag kill only being the one swing, because kind of
Hmm.
like you said, it just brings more like devastation into that kill. And I actually do agree. I did not used to agree with that, but now I actually agree with that. Just because for some reason I like the sleeping bag kill more in Jason X, just because of the comedy side of things.
Well, and then I like that we get both, you know? I like that we
Mhm.
get like a kill that's just one, and then we get where it's like multiple. I do think it's sillier when it's multiple, though. Like, I think it looks just sillier. But when it's just one, it's kind of like when, you know, when someone like breaks someone's neck because it's just so fast and it's just like done.
Mhm.
That's freaking crazy. And so that's what I think of this as. Like it's just like one and done, dead. That's freaking he's strong.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, that's a good point too. Like the one swing is for a more serious tone movie and the multiple one is goofy, so I guess that's why I enjoy it more, and it fitted
Mhm.
perfectly with Jason X for what they're going with. So great point on that. Saw someone else join here. Oh, Tommy Knocker, the horror guy. What's going on, my friend? Saying I am surprised Maniac Cop didn't get a reboot. Which, ooh, good point. I want to touch upon that, but it's probably not the best time to put out a movie about a serial killer cop. You feel me?
Yeah.
See, yeah, that's true. But I'll be honest with you, I think Maniac Cop can really do go for a remake, and you can make Bruce Campbell be the new Tom Atkins.
That would be cool. I think it would be cool to see because I do love the movie, you know?
Hmm.
I don't think it would be cool to see because of everything else, you know?
Everything, yes,
So
yeah.
with it just being a movie, yeah. With society, no.
Yeah, okay. You know
So
what?
yeah.
That is a good point. So we're going to ignore my comment. Even though again it would be a cool remake, but excellent
Yeah,
point. We
because
do not need
like I
more
said,
trouble than we have.
I loved the movie. And it would be so cool, and it would be cool to have Bruce Campbell playing like that character. That would just be such like a fun, like, you know, full circle type of moment.
Hmm.
Um, but you know,
Yeah, but yeah, we can't be having that though. So, but let's get to Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Destiny, I know you absolutely love this movie. Why in the world do you love this movie about clowns and their silly kills?
because you know, like, don't get me wrong, I love like serious horror and like the dark stuff, and you know, but sometimes it's just fun to watch a silly, goofy movie. I remember I had watched The Orphanage one night, and I that was my first time watching it, and I cried my eyes out. And so what did I do after that? I watched Killer Clowns from Outer Space because like I needed something to make me happy. And every time I watch it, it just makes me laugh. I love again the aesthetic of the movie. I love how colorful it is. The characters, the line deliveries are so over the top and like goofy, but it all just fits. Like it's all just like a mess, but it works in like the best way. And this is a movie that I showed my younger brother Ryder because he also likes horror movies, and he had seen my mask on my wall and stuff like that. And so I watched it with them, and he really enjoyed it. So it's like a good one to show kids as well if they're trying to
Hmm.
get into horror and it's not anything too scary. Um, it's just such a fun movie. It's just turn your brain off and just enjoy. Like, don't take it seriously whatsoever. And it's just a good time.
Yeah, and would you because this I consider this in my opinion. I want to see about your opinion. Would you consider Killer Clowns from Outer Space a Mount Rushmore when it comes to B level cheesy horror movies?
Oh, absolutely. I feel like this is, in my opinion, probably like the best. Like,
The best of the
because like
best.
Sleepaway Camp, I would also consider it like more. It's like I would say more serious in a way, but it's still very B level. Like
Hmm.
again, the line delivery and stuff. So that's definitely like up there with my favorites. But Killer Clowns for like just everything, absolutely. It's just it works so well, and it's like one of those. And like now it's freaking popular. It's all over Spirit Halloween when you go.
Hmm.
There's like a whole section for Killer Clowns, which is so crazy because I didn't even know about this movie until like I joined
Careflex.
Killer Flicks, and whenever I was watching Dead Meat, because that's how I first saw it was on Dead Meat because he did the kill count for it. And now to see it like everywhere in stores like that, it's just so cool. Uh, so I'm glad that it's like getting the recognition. It's just so like, wow, Killer Clowns. I would have never guessed that.
Yeah, I know. Like, plus, like, people are afraid of clowns already, but they try to like up in the mood with these particular set of clowns. It's just what I love most about this movie is just the costume design, just the design of everything, like the stages, like the costumes, everything making colorful. The cotton candy like comb thing is awesome, which now they're actually selling them in a like big display now where you can buy it. Try to get Mia to buy it, but she not for some reason she's not buying in one right now. So birthday idea. I know she would really appreciate it.
Can you
But no,
imagine walking into someone's home and they just have one hanging there? I would love one. I don't have the freaking. I'm like looking. There's nowhere I can hang that, but that would be so cool
better
to have.
yet, better yet. I know we have hammocks, but what about a cotton candy bed? Like, and you just like hop in there and just.
I bet it would be really comfortable.
It'd be
Also,
so
you'd probably fall
comfortable.
like right through it though. If it was literal cotton candy, you're going through that.
Yeah,
But
like it would
that's
not
just
be
so
able to contain the
soft.
weight. Oh, it'd be
Ooh,
freaking
actually,
amazing, and you get to smell the like the flavor. Like if you get
mm,
like in the kind of like a pink flavor, you get like that pink like smell and all that. Like, yeah, but I would probably say you probably have to take like 2 or 3 showers after it.
yeah. I was just also thinking like, like the feel of cotton balls.
Yes.
I honestly don't know if I could do that. Um, like the
Oh, like
feeling of it being all over my body. I think I would actually have like a panic attack the more I think about it. Yeah, your body heat would melt. Also, I like sweat a lot. So
oh
I just
yeah,
don't
but
think it would
you
be a
will
good
melt
combination.
right through it.
Literally right through it. I'm like immediately. So
And good point, Evil Alex. The game is coming soon, and I definitely do plan on getting that because me and Brad are working on a particular project that is game related. So stay tuned to that when we finally get that going. But that one will definitely be played. And then, but yeah, and then the last thing with Killer Clowns is the kills. Amazing freaking kills. So, what is your favorite kill in this movie?
the what are you gonna do? Knock my block off? And
Hmm.
then he fucking punches his head right off. Love
Yeah,
that.
that's mine. I laugh every time just because of how just freaking corny it is, but it just fits. Like that. It's like
Hmm.
this is the one movie where any kind of kill you offer, like it fits, and it's just so fun. It's just, like he's perfectly said. This movie is just so much fun. You like if you don't have a good time with this movie, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, literally. Just get some snacks, maybe a drink, or however you celebrate and just watch it. And it's just so much fun.
Yeah, and make sure your brother doesn't get your ray gun because that would not be a good thing.
Honestly, yeah. He likes to mess with my crap, so I'm
Pew
gonna
pew.
for real. I know he'd be like freaking going off with that thing.
Oh, absolutely. That's what I was just thinking about. It's like, oh. And Evil Alex says, I like the pizza delivery scene. See, that's a good scene too.
That's a good scene. Also, Mooney's death is actually like freaking scary when like the clown is like puppeteering him and then he like removes his hand and is like covered
Oh,
in blood. That's
yes.
actually like a pretty dark scene in the movie. Um, which I think is really good. It's really
It,
effective, I think.
it reminds me of another movie, but I don't want to spoil that movie, so I'm just going to
Oh
just.
yeah,
Yes, I think you already know where I was going with that. So I'm not
definitely.
going to spoil that because you definitely need to watch that one.
That one's a
Um,
good one.
So I saw someone else's comment. Oh, Gavin says it's not a good one to show to kids. I let my cousin's kid watch it with me, and he went to school the next day and was drawing clowns killing people.
You should frame it.
Yeah,
Frame it and put it on
that
your
sounds like a
wall.
proud moment to me. Like I made a horror fan out of this little kid, so hell yeah,
Exactly.
that's I think that's awesome. But I could see it in a school setting, not the best thing. And Mega Movie C's, what's going on there, man? How are you doing? Long time no see. All right, and anything else you want to mention with Killer Clowns before we head into the 2000s?
Nope. But I
Oh,
do
did you
have
find
a
one from
couple
the night?
others.
That's what I was going to ask. Did you find anything from the 90s?
Well, I did not find anything for the 90s, but I did have a few from 88.
Oh, go right ahead.
So some of these I have not seen, but I have heard of. For example, Dead Heat, which is a movie that was shown in the last drive-in. So this is on my watch list. Um, a movie called Edge of the Axe, which I have not heard is great, but I think this one was also shown in the last drive-in. I've definitely seen the poster like on Shudder and on Tubi. And another one on my watch list, Slaughterhouse Rock. I saw that
Yeah.
one on TV and I thought the poster was fun, so that is on my watch list. One that I have seen that I didn't even really remember watching until like I was like looking through this, and it's a freaking TV movie, and it's called I Saw What You Did, because I watched it as a kid because I thought it sounded creepy, and I remember thinking that the girl looked like Danny from Full House, and so I literally thought it was her. So whenever I was looking at this, it is not her. It is because this is in freaking 88. So it's not her, but it is a woman with big blonde hair, and it has Shawnee Smith in it. And it's like these two girls, they're at like a little sleepover, and they prank call this guy saying like I saw what you did, and he just did something really freaking
Oh.
bad, and they're pranking him, and so he thinks they're serious, and he's like hunting them down basically to find them. So it's just like a movie I saw like because I thought the title was like spooky, and I was like, oh okay. So I watched it as a kid. I have not seen it since. I don't really remember much of the movie itself, but like I remember watching it. So I want to
Say the
watch it
title
again.
one more time.
I saw what you did.
Because I saw what you
So it could be fun
I'm putting it
as
on
a
my
watch.
watch. Let's see. I saw what you did from 88. Okay, got it right here because I'm adding that to my watch list because you sold me on the synopsis alone. Because
Mhm.
that sounds like an amazing premise, and I'm surprised we don't have something like that today.
Yeah. I hope it's good. I definitely remember like liking it from, but I just don't really remember what happened in the movie because I was so young.
Mhm.
So I'm happy that as soon as I saw the title, I was like, hold up, that sounds so familiar. And then I was like looking at it, it's like, oh my God, that's that movie. Because I just, it like escaped my brain. And so I saw the poster, I was like, huh, that looks a little familiar. So definitely give it a watch.
Hell yeah. I definitely am going to because that again, just the synopsis alone, sold me on that one. So that was for 88. Did you find anything from the 90s?
No.
No. Okay, and that's why the 90s sucked during that time. So not a whole lot to talk about. So I did find one. We're going into the 2000s, and I found one from 2003, and this is Wrong Turn. The first one, not the foundation, not the 2021 one. This is the original, the one that started it all. Was released on May the 30th. So in 2 days' time, you'll get to celebrate this movie's anniversary. So Destiny, first, what do you think of this movie? Second, which one do you prefer more, the original or the remake?
I love the original Wrong Turn. It was one I definitely watched a lot as a kid because I remembered the redheaded girl's death so much. Like that
Hmm.
was one scene that really stuck with me from that movie. Um, I think I would definitely give it to the original. I really liked the Foundation. I enjoyed it so much, like as a reboot. I thought it was like a really interesting reboot, and in my opinion, a reboot that's done right because it's the same concept and it is the same premise. It's just instead of mutant cannibals, it's this whole other like civilization, which I
Mhm.
found so interesting. So I thought they did that really well, even though I know a lot of people did not like it. But it's early 2000s. It's nostalgic. It's one that I watched so much as a kid. I think pretty much all the deaths are great in it. The cast is great.
Mhm.
The cannibals look awesome. So I would give it to the original Wrong Turn. It's just such a
Oh,
fun, like,
really?
not all of it holds up that well. Some of the, like, the backdrop when they're climbing up the freaking, like, tower looks awful. But so much of it I do think it still really holds up. So yeah.
Yeah, the thing I remember most about the original is the tree scene, like where they're like trying to escape, like coming down the trees and all that. And I remember that one being all really cool. Definitely
Mhm.
like the main girl. I can never pronounce her name, but just the main girl in the original Wrong Turn. I think she was awesome in it. Even though I didn't
Mhm.
like what they did with her towards the end of it, kind of make her feel a little helpless because I thought she was supposed
Yeah,
to be
she's
the
like the
badass chick.
damsel in distress, sort of.
Well,
Yeah.
it was done randomly. That was the problem because they made her a badass, like a badass personality. I was like, "Oh, this is so cool!" And then all of a sudden, it's like, "Nope, she's a damsel in distress." Like, what?
Yeah, that part I don't really like because she is so good at the movie, and she's the one that like first figures out like that the barbed wire is like put out in the road. So she's like, someone did this because she's the one that's like taking initiative and like looking around and stuff. And she kicks so much ass. And then the end, yeah, they capture her, and and it's also like silly a little bit because it's like this man does not look like intimidating at all, and he's the one that's like saving her. Okay, whatever. But yeah, I do. Besides that, because she is so good.
Hmm.
Because like I haven't seen Buffy or anything like that, but I believe she's in Buffy, and I think she also plays a badass in that. And
Yes.
I know she's in Bring It On. She's
Hmm.
also in that '70s show a little bit, which is
Oh,
really cool to see her in that.
and I as I did like the tournament for the Real March Madness for the '90s movie, she was actually the daughter of Arnold Schwarzenegger's character in True Lies too. And I'm like,
Oh,
oh yeah. First off, True Lies way off topic. True Lies, great movie. If you've not watched it, watch it. Even though
okay.
it's extremely hard to find. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know why it doesn't get a Blu-ray release, but yeah, she was awesome in the movie. But here's where I go different. I think like the Cannibalists, like all that's really cool, but it's just what they did with the foundation and the reboot, which that's a better term, not a remake. It's a reboot.
Yeah,
So I like that better, just because to me it feels more real, and the realer you can make a certain story, the scarier it is to me. Because something like the Foundation legitimately could exist out there today. We don't even know about it. And plus, what really gets me to the most is Charlotte Vega, which hello, where the hell is she? Because I thought she was excellent in the 2021 reboot. And of course, our boy Damien Maffei is in that movie, just only for a little bit, but he gets a pretty cool moment in the movie as well. So
even
with me,
Cheney Morrow, he's in it
yes,
too.
Chaney was in it too.
Gets a brutal kill. Really
Yeah,
good though. I
very
really,
brutal.
really did like the reboot. Like I remember like I love I feel like the score throughout the reboot is underrated because every time I watch that
Thank you.
movie and it gets to the scene where they're walking like on the side of like a sort of like the hill like mountain area, and
Hmm.
it's like a wide shot of like the scenery and the score, something about it like almost brings tears to my eyes every single time. I don't know why. But the reboot, like watching that in theaters, it was so much fun. I walked out of it. I was like, damn, some people are going to hate
Hate
this
this
movie.
movie.
But like, it was probably like one of my favorites of the year just because it was so different, but yet the same. And like, the cinematography was great. And like, I
Hmm.
love the look of the movie. I thought the movie just looked wonderful. The ending was great. The fucking end credits were so cool and everything like
Yes.
that. So, I
Hmm.
thought that movie was so good.
Yeah, and the
Um,
kills were phenomenal too.
oh
Like
my
because
god, the kills
they
were
kind of
great.
hinted at it in the trailer, like, oh, this movie has kills, but knowing this movie, it's not going to go through with it. This movie goes through with it. Like they go through a lot of brutal kills, so I give the movie props. And like you said, the end credit scene, amazing because I almost left, and then I saw wait that car is wrecking. What's going on here?
I
And
know.
the funny story too is I remember seeing you. This is when I used to have Snapchat. Snapchat is like, guess where I am, and you sent
Hmm.
back, this is where I am. I'm like, nice. So I remember
That was
like
one of the movies I had to fucking drive a little bit to go to because they weren't showing
same.
it around me in my theaters. But I was like, I'm seeing this movie. I am freaking seeing this movie. I do not care. And I was so excited to go. I'm so glad that I did. Made the little extra drive to go because it was such a cool one to see in theaters just because like it just looked so pretty. Like everything looked so pretty and like the dim lighting when they actually get to the foundation setting and they're like
Mhm.
in their like housing areas and stuff. I love the lighting of it. It's so dim and dark, but like you can still obviously see everything. But yeah. That's one that I need to watch again. I haven't seen it probably since like maybe last year. I remember watching it with Maddie because she hadn't seen it,
Mm.
and I watched it with her, and she really liked it too.
Hell yeah. I'm definitely want to rewatch it now too because like just like you said, cinematography wise, it's just beautiful to like look at. And plus it to me felt like the most like foresty West Virginia back Appalachian feel. Like the first one did a good job too, but this one really like just went for it. And so that's why I'm picking the reboot over the original. It's just for me.
Yeah, I feel like the reboot does a really good job at like really making it feel like you are isolated, you know? Because some of the movies, it just looks like you're like in the woods. And like,
Mhm.
yeah, you're in the woods in these movies, but like it doesn't really give you like the full like grand scope of like how much woods there like is surrounding you and everything. And then you
Mhm.
have like the fucking part 5 movie and they're literally in a town, and then you have 4 which is in the snow. So like I would say like 3. 3 is just so like terrible, honestly. Though I will say out of
No,
all the
you got to
movies,
mention your favorite. You got to mention
the
your
second one is my
favorite.
favorite. That
Wait, the
is
second
the
one?
one I remember watching the most as a kid because I remember the scene that's like on like the little by
The
like the
cover.
river.
Mhm.
That's the scene that stuck with me when they're like
Oh
slashing her back and
yeah.
everything.
I'll be honest. I'm shocked because I could have swore your favorite one was the sixth one.
I'm leaving.
No,
Fuck no.
don't leave. Like, no,
That's one
come
of
on.
the
That's like the
worst
only one
movies
you made a video for. And I was like,
because it
come
was
on, you're making a
fucking
video for this one.
awful. Look, I literally said I will never watch this movie. I watched the kill count and I was like, I am not going to watch that. Absolutely not. The only reason why I watched it is because I got the 6-pack collection, wherever it is, for free. It was just given to me. And I was like, looking at it, I was like, fuck, I'm going to watch this movie. And it was like a Friday. I just gotten off work and I had the weekend. I was like, I'm just going to
Do
do
it.
it. I'm going to do it. It's just like a
And you
little
know
two
what?
hours.
Might as well record myself doing it too. And it looked like he wanted to puke the entire time, not just because it was disgusting, just because of how bad it was.
Yeah, it was yes, it's literally basically softcore porn. Like
What's going on, Robbie?
it's like so ridiculous. I was just like watching it, I was just like, "Oh my god." And I always make this like I always bring this up every time we talk about the reboot. And I'm going to say it again and I will fucking keep saying it because people always say the reboot does not feel like a wrong turn movie. If you watch part 6, this is not a wrong turn movie. The cannibals are literally pushed to the side. Like they are not the main focus and they're not even the main bad guys of the movie. So like how can you complain about a movie that like looks good and actually has like a good story and it is the original just different, but be like, "Oh, but part 6 is fine." Like no, it's really not.
No.
It's literally fucking it's Texas Chainsaw 3D basically, but it's wrong turn and it's stupid.
Yeah, I was like, that does not sound like a good mix match. So I'm gonna, just for my sake of thing, I'm gonna skip part 6, unless if I have to do it for a review series. Which Patreons, I'm looking at you. If you do it, we're gonna have problems. So do not use your Patreon request making me watch that movie. So don't do it. So don't do it.
I
Luckily for
said
you,
to do it.
you don't have the power to do it. If you have the power to do it, I would be terrified. So, so let's
I can go
see.
up for a month. Yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
yeah. Okay. So, let's see here. You guys are just chatting away, making excellent points. So let's see here. And Mark Jones agrees with you. Part 6 is terrible.
I
Let's
didn't even
see.
know it existed. Like, because I remember watching 1 through 5 a lot as a kid. And so I had no idea 6 even existed until Dead Meat was covering the Wrong Turn franchise, because I thought part 5 was 6, and I was like, what movie am I missing here? Like, what the hell? And then when we got to it, I was like, what the fuck is this? It's like, this I have never even heard of. I did not know existed, because it's just such like, and it came out like in like 2014 or something like that. Like, it didn't come
Mhm.
out in that early sort of like string of the movies, because they started to slowly like die off. Um, it was just like, it's like the ugly it's like the ugly duckling of the family. Like, part
Damn,
3 is
that's
pretty
big.
bad, but like part 6 is like, they're both
Yeah.
just
Why?
trash.
Just why? So that was our lovely thoughts about Part 6, and those are our thoughts about Wrong Turn, the original and the reboot. So let's. Did you find anything from 2003?
I have 2 movies, again, have not seen them, but have heard of them, and I own one of them, and it's Gacy, which is a John Wayne Gacy movie,
Oh yes.
which I believe has the guy from Leprechaun. I think it's, what's his name in Leprechaun? I think he
Oh,
plays Gacy in this movie.
oh,
Um, haven't
God, I
seen it
can't
though.
remember, but I know what you're talking about because I saw that on Tubi. I was like, they made a movie of this.
Yeah, because there's like a bunch of, there's like random, like Jeffrey, not Jeffrey Dahmer. I was gonna say Jeremy Renner plays
Yes.
Jeffrey Dahmer.
God,
So there's like
that
a bunch
movie.
of like early like 2000s like movies like that, which is so just like random. And I'm not really sure how I feel about them. I found it at Goodwill, and I was like, oh, like maybe. And then I just like don't want to watch it, so I don't think I will. And I'll probably just get rid of my DVD, because like,
It'd be a
I
good
don't know.
doorstop.
Maybe. I just like feel kind of weird watching stuff, which I've seen that the one that Zac Efron did, the Ted Bundy movie.
That one was good.
I thought that one was good too, because it wasn't really from his perspective. It was more from like
The
his like,
victims.
yeah, and so like I feel like that one actually like handled it pretty well. My thing is like, when you're doing something like this, for example, I did not watch the Jeffrey Dahmer series, but that is in a way I don't think it was handled correctly, because even like the victims' families were like, "Hey, don't make this. Like, don't do this." And then they fucking went ahead and they still did it. And
Hmm.
so that, I never watched that, because I'm just like, that makes me feel pretty weird. I love Evan Peters, and like I think he's a great actor, and like I know how much
Hmm.
character like work he went into this role, which again is so weird, because then you're like getting into the mindset of like a serial killer.
Yeah.
So I think that's strange too. It's all just, I think, a really weird thing, and you have to go about it the right way. And I don't know
Hmm.
if this movie does, and it's just such a hard like topic.
And
So
was it that
Gacy,
person's name? Mark Holton. For Gacy, I believe that's from what you were.
if
I
it's
think
like
you.
his real name, yeah, because I think his name was like Ollie in the movie, or like Oliver or something like that in
Hmm.
Leprechaun. So I think so. But and then there's another one, and I think I'm pronouncing it right, because I looked it up on how to pronounce it, but Ichi the Killer. It is a movie I have not seen, but I have heard it is a tough one to watch. I've heard it's insane, like incredibly like bloody and gory. Like usually whenever I watch like disturbing movie lists or something like that, this one like pops up. So it's not one that I've seen. It is one that I want to see. It's just one that I'm not necessarily like in a big rush to watch, because it makes me a little nervous, honestly.
Oh, you got Cody excited in the chat. Ichi rules.
All right.
All
All
right,
right.
so you got
How,
to add
on a
to the.
scale of 1 to 10, how rough would you say it is? Because
All right,
that'll
Cody,
help me better assess my would I want to watch it.
give it 11, so she
Give
has
it
to
a little bit.
watch it.
Hey, I watched Inside, the
And I saw
French
that on
film,
Shutter.
and I don't like pregnancy movie horror. Like, I don't like
Ooh.
shit like that. Like, it really like just grosses me out. And so that was one that I was like, oh, I'm not gonna watch that, like, well, 13. All right.
Put it on the
Um,
watch list.
all right. I'll have to watch it at some point. But I watched Inside, and that was a movie I thought like I would not be able to watch. And I did, and I didn't look away. I did almost throw up one time. One time it really did get to me. But I actually enjoyed that movie. And it wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be.
Hmm.
Still pretty
Yeah.
rough in some parts though.
Well, definitely, it's got me interested. God, Cody, 13. You got me interested now, so I might have to put it on my watch list too.
Mm-hmm.
But for 2008, we've been talking about a lot of brutal kills and all that. Those are movies. What about possibly real life? And Destiny, I know you really enjoyed this particular show. If that's on Spike TV, it has an anniversary, so we can finally talk about it. We could talk about all 1,000 ways to do it as well. So what I'm talking about is 1,000 Ways to Die. This was on Spike TV, the phenomenal, back in 2008. It got its start on May the 14th. So gosh, we'll talk about some of our favorite like stories on that one, because I do remember a couple of stories that I remember. And Destiny, another movie I found from 2008, you know all too well, the Strangers, which in 2 days as well gets a big horror movie anniversary. I believe of 15 years was released. So let's go ahead and we'll tackle that second, but I know you're ready to do 1,000 Ways to Die. So, how were you introduced to it, and what are some of your favorite stories?
Well, I definitely watched it way too young. I was in fourth grade. Like, I vividly remember that first episode that I watched because it was so disgusting. And I know I've talked about it, but it's the guy, and he has a cow heart, and he has a car battery and jumper cables. And so he, like, hooks it up to the heart, and it's pulsating. And then he fucks the cow heart, and then he, like, turns it up, and the voltage was too high, and so it electrocutes him. And I remember, like, it just, like, it turned to my stomach. I was like, that is the fucking, like, because people like around like my age or like a little bit older, they like watched, like Two Girls One Cup, like the nasty shit like that. Never saw that. I know what it is, and like I know about all that nasty stuff. So this is like the first like real thing I watched that was like just nasty and like in a weird sexual way too. And I was in fourth grade, so I was like, what the actual fuck? And so I turned it off because also like I didn't want my family to walk out. I was in the living room, and it was like at 11 p.m. at night. I was like, someone's gonna walk out and be like, what the fuck are you watching? So I changed it. And then a couple like years later, it was on again. And I was like, you know what? Like I'm gonna watch it. And so that's what I would do, was just like watch it, like secretly watch it, because I didn't not want someone to walk in on me watching this. Because about, I would say, like 2 out of like the 3 episodes are showing they have to do with sex. And so I was just like
Mm-hmm.
secretly like, I was like, fuck, someone's gonna walk in. That one, Bud said the one that shoved the cucumber up her vagina, yes, and it like cuts her and she dies from like internal bleeding. There's one where the lady, she's like shaving her legs, and she uses a rusty razor, and so like she gets like tetanus and her fucking skin starts falling off.
Uh,
And like that stuck with me so much to where every time I use my razor, I will look to make sure there's no rust. And even if there's like a speck of a little bit, no, not using it. Because that fucked me up. Like I remember the first time I ever shaved my legs, I cut my leg, and I was like, oh my God,
Cabin
it's
Fever.
gonna fall off, because I was so traumatized from that episode. And it's just shaving. Like it's nothing, it's like mundane, and it's something like most people do. But it
Yeah,
fucking
like when
makes
I
me
shaved
sick.
for the first time by myself, like I thought I was going to like cut right here.
Oh my
You know,
God.
once you cut right there, you're done for. And
Yeah.
I've always been scared of that. I'm like,
That's
surely
like
they're not going to
me,
create.
but like on my like Achilles, like the back of that. Ugh. You
Oh,
ever cut there? Oh my God, the feeling. And
yeah, you're
like
screwed there too.
when you like cut your legs, like shaving, like they bleed, it bleeds so much for like such a small cut. Because I did it the other day because I was shaving so fast. And the smallest cut, I looked down and there's blood just dripping down my leg. I was like, it's so dramatic. Like it's not, it does not need to be that much.
Hmm.
Good show, yes. And some of them are like freak, like Final Destination type
Oh,
shit. Like
that's what I was getting
there
ready to
are
say.
some that aren't like, like some of them were real. A lot of it's definitely like,
Made
a
up.
dramatic time. Like, like they're like, oh, like I'm sure her leg didn't actually fall off, but yeah, she probably did die from tetanus because she
Mm-hmm.
used a fucking rusty razor. But some of it's definitely just silly. But a lot of it, I definitely think there's the one where the girl got turned on by throwing up, and so she went to a hot dog eating
Oh
contest, and
no.
she's like making out the guy and like shoves her fingers down his throat, and he throws up on her, and then she chokes on his vomit and dies.
Ah. Bleh.
Yeah, that one was really gross. And I've thrown
Yeah.
up hot dogs before, and I was just like, mm-mm.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, it's like you
Uh,
don't have a good
uh,
experience with hot dogs, but
no, so like, ugh, I just couldn't even imagine. Like, what the fuck? That one was
but
pretty crazy. There's a lot. There's one
oh, there's
where
two.
I think the girl like sneezed a lot. Like she just had like a condition to where she would like sneeze uncontrollably and like
I have a
or
coworker that sneezes 6 straight times as loud as they possibly can, and it annoys me. And I'm even scared at one point. Like, damn, is she gonna die?
for real, because it's like it's like what do you do? There's one where the girl like couldn't control her like orgasms and she like fell down like the stairs and like died
Ooh.
because she like started like well like stepping
Oh my
downstairs.
god.
Pretty crazy.
I remember.
Oh,
I oh, you found one.
I soaked my razor in alcohol before shaving down there. Heard too many horror stories about it. Horror stories about what? Like
Oh,
cutting yourself or something, or like tetanus,
hmm.
or just like something crazy happening.
Yeah, let us know that, Galford. But definitely the one. There's two I remember. The first one I remember being the guy just got out of jail. He was drinking while driving. Didn't have a license, of course. So and he had a prostitute with him, and so the cop was getting ready to pull him over, and the guy was freaking out. I was like, "No, I can't go back to jail. Here, girl, take this pepper spray." She goes, "No, I'm not taking that pepper spray," and he puts the pepper spray up his butt and then it actually went off, so it was spraying his insides and burning his like organs and everything. Dead immediately.
Um, I remember another episode where the guy wanted to make his dick look bigger or like big, and so he had a sausage, and he
Oh,
like
I
used
was
his
about to tell
hand.
that story. Damn
Yes,
you.
and he has like that
Damn
cord
you.
wrapped around, and it's like cutting off his circulation. So he
Circular.
died.
Oh my god.
There's one where the guy was allergic to latex, and he went to like this like sex club, and they put him in like a ghillie suit, so like a full leather like
Oh
American Horror Story the first
no.
season, like that full leather suit, and he like died from like I can't say the word asphyxiation. He died from that because he was allergic to latex, and he like fucking. I could not imagine.
Oh my
First of all, I
god.
couldn't imagine wearing that. Absolutely not. Absolutely, I am claustrophobic as fuck. Like I couldn't put anything on my body like that, especially like latex, where it's like literally forming on your skin. No, that freaked me out a lot whenever I watched it. I was like, holy shit! Like,
Mhm.
what the hell?
The one that got me the most, is one of the most popular ones, I believe. Was the one where the guy had a piercing done with a chain. He had like this chain, like went through his stomach, through his digestive system, and come like out of his anus or something like that. Weird piercing, and he got that chain got stuck on the forklift I was lifting up. Legitimately, just yeah, not a good day for him.
Or, oh my god!
Yeah.
Probably like gutted on like a fucking deer or something. Like why?
I, what?
That
I guess that was a phase during the era of like, what can we do fucked up on piercing? Uh,
that is
but my
crazy.
but my god, yeah, there's so many of them. Like we've only listed what, like 15 possibly out of 1,000. That's my last question. Did they actually do 1,000, or did they just ended the series and not do a
That
thousand?
is a good question. That is a good question. I feel like because they would list off like three per episode, so I feel like there's a chance they could have. Yes, yes. Just talking about some fucked up things that we saw. It was just, and it's just so crazy. Like the shit that like could happen to you. And there's like
Mhm.
one where they're camping on like a hilltop and it was windy and like it blew them off. So that was just like a sort of like a freak accident in a way. There was one where the guy was like walking down and there's like construction going on top of a building, and you know those like steel rod poles, like they're like this skinny, they're long though, and they're made of
Hmm.
steel, and it
Oh
had
shit.
fallen and it landed and it fucking got him, and that's like Final Destination shit. Like he was walking and it
Yes.
literally just like pierced through him. Like that's some shit that's like, oh, like that's fucking crazy. But a lot of these are like
Legitimately.
self-inflicted in a way. Like the guy didn't have to fuck a cow heart, you know, like he didn't have to do that. The girl didn't
Yeah.
have to shove a vegetable up her. They literally make things for that. Like you don't have to do that. So some of
Yeah.
them I'm just like, come on now. But some of them it is like, oh shit, like that's fucking
You
scary.
could say
Think
they
about
should have.
that.
You could say they should have moved along. So,
Yeah.
but the last one, and then I know we can go about that all day. But we got first movies to go to. I just figure you had a lot of fun with this particular topic here. So the last story I remember is a drunk guy wanted to play darts, and just to be crazy and everything, he threw a dart right up into the air and he lost it. And then the girl that he was playing with, the girl flashed him, so it distracted him. And as the dart came down, went right through his skull and hit right in the part of the brain you're not supposed to hit it. He died
Hmm.
instantly.
Oh my god. Like that's freaking crazy.
Well, at least he
It's
got to see something before he died. So,
That's true. Well, not in a good way, I guess. And at least it
if
was like
there is a good
instant.
way.
It was instant, you know.
Yeah. So,
Still.
God, just what we call a lot of strange deaths in the world. I'll tell you that. That's why I learned about that show. It's just there's a lot of strange deaths. And you know what? That's a nice segue because we're going to go into strangers now. So the strangers. So Desi, I know you constantly you talk about why you love this movie, but just in case if nobody's heard, why do you love the strangers so much?
This movie was one of those movies that whenever I watched as a kid, it really freaking scared me. Because I lived like surrounded by woods and everything, so it was like pretty isolated. And whenever I was watching it, it scared the shit out of me because it's so realistic. I think like home invasion movies are some of the scariest, or it's probably like the scariest in my opinion, like subgenre because they just feel so real. Like
Hmm.
this could literally happen to anyone, unfortunately. And it is based off true stories. It's not exactly what happens in the movie. It's like a collective of different things made into this movie, but each of these things are still like terrifying. Each of these freaking like incidents that inspired the director or the writer is still freaking scary. Um, so I love The Strangers. I think the look of the killers is so scary. I think the Man in the Mask is absolutely terrifying.
Hmm.
Liv Tyler is great. I love her in this movie. I wish she was in more horror movies because I think
Yes.
she is so good in this. And I just love like the atmosphere of the movie. It's one of those like really good, I think, like fall time movies because it's so like there's a lot of orange and like brown tones, like muted like fall
Mm.
colors throughout like the cabin, and even like with what they're wearing. She's wearing like this flannel like top. So I think it's like a really good like fall time movie. And it's just scary. And like I know I told the story that night whenever I was asleep and we got like a knock on the door and it was like 3 a.m. And the first thing I thought of was the strangers. I was like, oh my God. So even that, like that feeling of whenever I woke up and I realized that like I did hear a noise and they knocked again, I was just like, I was frozen. I was literally just sitting there. I was like, oh my
Yes, I
God.
am not getting up.
No, we made sure the doors were locked and that was it. I was like, not, I was like, don't fucking answer that door. Like, do not answer that door. I am traumatized. So we didn't. And like still we don't know who the fuck did it. And that was still what was scary. No one called, no one texted, no one said shit. So we still don't know who knocked on our door that night. And that is pretty freaky. And when where I lived, it wasn't like super populated. Like it was a road and there's houses here and there, which also
Just
makes
the
it scarier
setting of the
too.
strangers. So
Seriously, so I was like, absolutely not. But yeah, I love The Strangers. I wanted to wear my new shirt that I got, but again,
just didn't
I
have
sweat
time.
a lot, so I just today was one of those days I was like, I can't wear a t-shirt. Not happening.
Wear what's comfortable to you. That's what I
Yeah,
say.
but
And Kat Stiller, what's going on? Saying great double feature, The Strangers and Hush. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because they're pretty much very similar, but they're also different at the same time. So
Mhm.
absolutely agree with that. And pretty much, I'll go quick on this one because you pretty much just nailed everything about this movie because I love it for the exact same reasons as you do. It's realistic. The tone and atmosphere is what gets me. And just what is really underrated in this movie, too, is the sound effect with like how loud the knock is or the
Oh my
bangs.
god.
Like, that's like just such the simplest things that can scare you really do indeed scare you and just increase the tension of this movie. And so I really love The Strangers. Definitely a top horror movie from the 2000s of all time.
Yeah, and SPC said The Stranger
Well,
is one of my
no.
favorite horror movies. Agreed. And then Evil Alex says like good movie. Proves less is more. Talking about
Yes.
like one location, no motive, no gory kills. Like they do such a good job with like it's so like everything is so simple and it really works and it does prove like not everything has to be so over the top. Like sometimes less is more. This movie is so effective with that because it is just basically one location. Like yeah, you get like flashbacks here and there to like what had happened before. I like the way that we just jump into the story and we're piecing
Hmm.
together what has happened because like immediately we can tell it's not like the vibes aren't good. And then you start to like figure out what went on with them and everything like that, and it makes you like sympathize for these characters too because even though they're having turmoil within their relationship, you could see that they still really care about each other and like like they still love each other. And then it's so unfortunate that this happens to them in the same time, and the ending is so sad.
Oh,
And it's
yeah.
just like it's like you're defeated. Like there's literally nothing else you can do but just like let this happen when they're both like tied up and they're just looking at each other and talking to each other as he's getting stabbed and she's getting stabbed. Like you're just helpless.
Especially
Yeah,
the motivation of why you're doing this because you were home.
that's it. Like Matt's saying, one of the scariest lines in all of horror, and I agree because like I said earlier, that just goes to show like how random it is. This could literally happen to anyone. If they weren't targeted for any other reason, but they just so happened to be there. And that's not even their home. It's like his family, his dad's like summer home. So it's not even like
Hmm.
their house. Like if they would have went there maybe even the next night, like everything could have been fine. But just because they went there that night, they were targeted.
Or
They were
Liv Tyler
attacked
could have
for
said
no
yes
reason.
and changed the whole mood and everything.
And
Because
like
remember, she said no because there was a proposal that happened, and she said no, and then that's when all hell broke loose. So what if she said yes?
it would have still been the same because they would have still ended
May-
up back at the house no matter what.
Maybe in the
Like
different multiverse.
yeah, maybe. They say yes and then they just fly to Vegas instead and
And
they
at the
get
end,
married immediately and they live happily ever after.
and then the strangers, like those three people, are like, "Where the hell
For real, they're like
are they
looking at
supposed to
their
be here?
timer.
Like, are they supposed to
I
be
thought they were
here?"
gonna be here. I don't know. I thought I heard them say something. I don't
Dadgummit,
understand.
Todd! I thought I told you. Like, I just what do you? What about you?
I just
Because
drive
they
the truck. What the fuck?
Yeah, like, girl, what about you? What do you think of this? Like, what do you think of this? Because they were home. No, you're not supposed to say that. You're supposed to say that at the like. But
It's like you
no, the
fucked it up. That's
strangers.
your ending line.
Oh my god! But no, the strangers is absolutely awesome. If you, for some reason, have not seen it, watch it today. It's absolutely amazing. And I'll even take it one step further. Midnight with the all completely dark. Put your phone away, and you will thank me. It will enhance the experience.
Yes, and I feel like sometimes I feel like whenever I say movies that like I like to fall asleep to, people are like, "What the fuck?" This is one of those movies that's a good one to fall asleep to
Oh
because
my
it's like
god!
quiet except for like some loudness, like with the knocks and stuff, but it just like relies so much more on like the natural sounds of like what's going on. Like there's little
Okay.
music actually used throughout the movie. When it's being played, it's because it's being played in the movie, like the characters themselves are playing it. So it's just one of those movies like that, The Conjuring, Halloween, they just have like a certain feel to them that just like puts me to sleep in like the best way possible though.
Tanner says, I would like to see them, pull up into a drive-through. Uh,
Imagine they go to McDonald's afterwards.
Yeah, how can I help you? What'd you say? Oh, sorry about that.
Sorry.
I like a quarter pounder with
For real. And a large Dr. Pepper, please.
yeah,
And they're covered in blood. They're like, what the
ketchup.
fuck happened?
You've experienced that before. You did that like little makeup. You had blood, and you went out and got food, and they're like, "What
I
happened to
did. I went
you?"
to Taco Bell. I went to Taco Bell. I went to Taco Bell when I was Chucky. And
Oh
I've
yeah,
gone
I
into the
remember.
stores a few times with like I did like the gash on my forehead and I went into the store.
Oh my
Sometimes it's
god.
just fun just to see people's
Yeah.
reactions.
Ma'am, are you okay? Oh yeah, I'm just fine. I just got cut up, but
Yeah. No, I'm good. Why? Why are you asking?
yeah, leave me alone, creep. So so that is The Strangers. Destiny, did you find anything else from the 2000s or
No.
from 2008? No. Okay.
No.
So let's go ahead and go to 2013, and we got to talk about this little gem right here. It's called Murray. American Mary was released on May the 31st, so it also has a anniversary coming up this week, a 10-year anniversary. And Catherine Isabel, my God, like this is the movie where like I really fell in love with her, and anything that she's in, I will definitely watch. Had a really good time with this movie. Made me very uncomfortable at times, but again, it's a horror movie. It's supposed to do that. But just, I really enjoyed it. But mainly, it's Catherine Isabel's show in this movie, and this is the one movie I will say this is what really like got Catherine Isabel to say, "Hey, she's really that damn good." I know there was another one that you might bring up, said that she really got her start in. It was the one you suggested to me for my 14 days. So, Desi, what about you? American Mary, what's your thoughts? And Catherine Isabel.
I love Catherine Isabel. Everything I've seen her in, she's great. Ginger Snaps was the movie that I recommended, Brett.
Yes,
I love Ginger Snaps. She's great in Freddy vs. Jason. She's probably my favorite character in that, even though she's not in it that long. She's
I
still
agree.
like, she's freaking great in See No Evil too. She was like a highlight of that movie. I was so surprised like she was in it. So I love her. And oh, she's in another Cinderella story, the movie with Selena Gomez. And also, fun fact, Bridget, so the girl that plays her sister in Ginger Snaps, they play sisters in another Cinderella story, the Disney movie. They play
Oh,
like the evil
yeah.
stepsisters together with
Oh,
Selena
that's so
Gomez.
cool.
She's Cinderella. Which is so because like I watched that movie so much as a kid, and I watched Ginger Snaps on the last drive-in for the first time. And so I was like, holy shit, like they play sisters in a horror movie. Like that's so crazy. But I love American Mary. It is not a subgenre that I am a huge fan of because they are very hard to watch because it is a rape revenge movie and the scene is rough. It is hard to get through. Um, but her character is Mary. She is like struggling with like what she wants to do in life and like if she really wants it. And then this happens and it's her professor. And so like that really like makes her like change the way like she wants to do things, and so she kind of opens up her own business for body modifications that surgeons won't do, and some stuff goes down, and the ending is so like sad, and it's
Hmm.
like kind of like poetic in a way because like this movie is so good because like I keep seeing a lot of like tweets like she's like someone that you like sympathize for because she's not the villain of the movie, like she is not the bad guy. She's doing all these things, but first of all, that guy got what was coming to him.
Big
So
time.
that is like okay in my books. And then everything else, she's not like, doing it maliciously. Like these people are coming to her and they are wanting this stuff done. And she's doing it for them. So she's like actually like helping them. And so the ending's so upsetting because it's like, damn, she did not deserve that. Like that's not,
Mhm.
but it's so good also because, damn. I fucking love American Mary. It's so good, and she's just
Mhm.
so good. Destiny's going
Yeah.
full Dave McCray on this
Yeah, I
movie,
was about to say,
and
like,
I'll
it's a,
take it as a compliment.
but Destiny.
Look, I'm passionate, okay? I'm passionate. What can I
No, that's
say? It's a
no,
fucking
that's
great movie.
awesome. Like when I saw some of these movies, it's like, oh yeah, she's going to be very passionate about a lot of these movies. So, but American
Mhm.
Mary, I've only seen it once. I don't remember too much, but I do remember it just being bloody, disgusting. But no pun intended. But I really did have a good time with it. It's all mainly because of Catherine Isabel, and I think she's possibly one of the most dangerous co-stars or supporting cast members you can have in your movie because she is going to take your damn spotlight.
She will like outshine. She just has
Hmm.
like something about her, like she's getting outshine. It's kind of like Jenna Ortega in a way. Like she just like outshines so many people when she's in something because you're just so focused on her. And I feel like she definitely like has that effect. And also, I like American Mary was one that I really wanted to watch, and I was kind of nervous to watch because this is like the exact like I talked earlier. Like I don't like pregnancy horror, like that stuff like really like grosses me out. But body modification stuff, oh my god. That is like one of my least favorite things. So like movies like Hellraiser, I was so nervous to watch because I knew
Hmm.
there was like a lot of body sort of like gore because I don't like stuff like that. So I was nervous to watch American Mary because I knew
And you,
that's what it was. And
and
even
you
though
know,
some of it was
oh,
cringy,
sorry.
like a lot of it I was like, oh, like visit like disgusted. But it's
Mhm.
done so well. So
Yeah, and I was going to say too, it kind of has like audition vibes in a way,
yeah, yeah. Even
but
though
just a different
she's
story.
definitely, even though in audition, I'm still on her side. The fucking main guy is so weird. You
Hmm.
are literally setting up auditions for a future wife, and they literally think that this is like an audition for like a movie, and you're just like scoping out these girls. Like it's so like predatory. It's so just like, and he's like
Yeah,
an
that
older
guy
man
got what he
too.
deserved.
Yeah, he was gross. I don't like him. I liked
Yeah.
her though. She was cool.
Hmm. So before we move on and to see what else you have from 2013, we'll quickly address this because it actually is kind of pissing me off at this point now. Uh, Jenna Ortega got caught in a video about her smoking. Guys, it's not a big fucking deal.
It's like it's so
And I'm
crazy
not saying
because
Gavin's hating on her. He's just bringing it. I'm talking about the people who legit have a problem with
yeah,
this. Like,
because like for one,
she's probably
it's
stressed as
literally
hell.
and it's like it's literally none of your business. You know how many celebrities smoke?
Oh,
You know how
so
many
many.
people smoke? It's so many. Like I'm fucking hitting a vape right now. You know what I mean? Like who like let the people deal with their own shit. It doesn't and it
Exactly.
like sometimes like sure it's like you'll see and I also think it's because like, you know, she came from Disney and you know, when you have like these people that like rose from like Disney and they grow up and they start, you know, just being normal adults because they're not under like Disney contracts anymore. They don't have to have a certain image. People kind of like freak out. And it's like this is just what happens. Like everyone fucking grows up. Like, you know, like
Hmm.
who
Yeah.
cares? It literally has nothing to fucking do with you.
It
Also,
does
she
not
does
hurt her
not know
stock.
you. She doesn't know you. And I bet you she doesn't give a fuck about you. So like
No.
she
Especially the
doesn't give a
person
fuck.
who filmed her, like who like got that picture and everything. First off, I'm pretty sure he did like publicly, so it's not against the law or anything. But then again, like that's
It's
the
still kind of
stupidest
weird.
thing. It's
Like,
still
you
the
know,
stupidest thing.
yeah, I was seeing people like freaking out. And I was just like, oh my God.
Yeah, it's like people just want to
Yeah.
bitch just to bitch or cause shit. So like again, it's not a big deal. 2013, did you find anything else from that year?
No.
All right, and Dead Gummit, whoever posts that picture, I want damn revenge. Nice segue there. So that's the next movie from 2018. Definitely is actually one of my favorite like revenge like horror movie type movies, and that's Revenge. And this one's on Shutter, and I definitely recommend this one. I even recommend this one to Destiny. I remember when I first watched it too. This came out on May the 11th of 2018. It is still on Shutter right now. Again, I highly suggest you all watch it. And speaking of scenes that like make me sick, it's not the blood because trust me, there is a lot of blood in this movie. It's this one scene where this guy and they do a close up to him eating food that always makes me absolutely sick to my stomach because I hate that more than anything in the world. But other than that, the main girl's a badass, great story, and they just do such a great job. And she's just not a badass from the beginning. She develops, she evolves into a badass, and I love movies like that. So, Destiny, your thoughts on Revenge?
Revenge is great. Again, it is another rape revenge movie. This one was like written and directed though by like a woman, and so I feel like because
I
a lot of
believe it's a
times these
Spanish
movies,
movie too.
yes, it is, because like a lot of these movies are a lot of times like written and directed by men, you know, and
Hmm.
so even though it's such like again, it's a really tough subject to like do right because it is like uncomfortable and everything to have like it from like a woman's perspective, I feel like makes it not like forgiving or anything, but it makes it, you know, like okay, because this is such like it's a movie about a woman being raped. And what I do like about this movie is because a lot of times when these movies always show the victims as being like super like pure and innocent and like virginal and stuff like that, but this movie you have a girl who is like sex positive and she wears like,
Hmm.
you know, she wears what she wants to wear and she's flirty and she's fun, because like I think it's important to show like this happens to anyone whether or not, you know, it happens regardless and it's unfortunate and it happens because of the men who are usually doing it, of course, you know, it
Hmm.
happens to everyone,
Yeah,
but with
especially
these
in this movie
movies,
where they really got the guys to kind of like saying, "Well, she was like asking for it." Like, yeah, she's
yeah,
not
and it
making the
just
best
goes to
decisions, but
show
that's not like what she
like
was doing.
she doesn't deserve it even if she was like jokingly flirting with them, it's still like none of it equates to like no, like it doesn't
Hmm.
matter. So I do like that this movie kind of takes the subject and like changes it a little bit and just shows like no matter what you are doing, it is still not okay. It's still not acceptable and it's still
Hmm.
disgusting. And she does have this whole scene. And I like it because it's also like a little surreal. Like some of it is not survivable, which I saw like people complain about. But like it is, I had like on the kill count for it, even like the director said, like it is more like some of it is more like fantastical. Like some of it is not meant to be like seen as like what you're watching is like what's actually happening. Like some of it obviously there's a part where there's a tree branch and like yeah, like you're not probably going to live that, but like that's not like the point of it. But she does have this whole scene where, you know, it's like literally a phoenix, like she there's like a phoenix on the can and everything, like she is like
Hmm.
rebirth and then she gets her revenge and she is so good when she does like everything. When these men die it just feels so good because you want them to, they're all disgusting because they all, even though one person did it, the other two men did not do anything about it and they know and they're just like whatever, like to them it's just like okay, they want to kill this girl so they don't look bad when they are the problems. And so whenever she does get her revenge, it's so good and it gets bloody. There's
Hmm.
parts towards the
Especially the
end that
third act.
it is nasty. It is stomach open being saran wrapped to keep going. Like it is rough to watch. It they're slipping and sliding all over the blood, but it's so good. And that ending shot is so good too. It is
Hmm.
so good. So I definitely recommend Revenge, even though tough subject, tough in parts. Luckily the scene it doesn't linger. It kind of like it goes
Doesn't
through,
overstay its welcome.
and it's through and then we're now like on this.
Hmm.
So yeah, definitely recommend Revenge.
Yeah, absolutely. And what also is cool too is she was the main girl is just developing, like I said earlier, like she was like a supermodel, and then she evolves into a badass and just mainly a survivor and all that. And
Mhm.
what I really like it more in this particular one is the guys. They were actually out. What they were doing is hunting. So they were actually hunters. So she even has a bigger obstacle than whatever kind of horror movies present, like the obstacles to overcome, just like a regular guy just with a gun. These are
Mhm.
trained like hunters. So what
Yeah,
she
like
did to me was more impressive.
yes, because now you have one person who's also severely injured. Like she is fucked up,
Hmm.
and now going
Like the
against
cave
three
scene. Oh
men.
my god.
Yes, and they think that she's dead, and so like she has like that's the only advantage she has is like they think she's dead until they see she's no longer there, and they realize like oh shit. But she's going up against three men, like you said, that are out there to hunt, like they are hunting animals, and now she has to go against them, and she's like isolated in the desert, like they are so far removed from civilization, so
Hmm.
it's literally just her in the desert trying to survive. It's
Hmm. Yeah.
freaking so it's so good.
Yeah, especially in the desert, there's like legitimately no place to hide except for that cave. And so, yeah, again, many challenges. So I was really impressed with Revenge when I saw it. So I was glad that I watched it and I suggested it to you, and I'm glad you liked it as well. Except for that dude eating, because that was absolutely disgusting and not needed at all.
I
Unless if
don't
that was
like.
just a representation that men are pigs, which in that
Yeah,
case, that guy was.
definitely. I don't
So,
like watching people eat though, especially
no.
like up close.
Yeah.
It
No,
makes me like nauseous.
no, thank you. Saw more people in the chat. Toronto Freddy, I saw you in there. What's going on? Being Grim, and let's see here. And Jonathan, what's going on there, guys? Hopefully, you guys are doing well. Uh, Desi, did you find anything else from 2018? Alrighty, so what we're going to do to finish this out is we're going to celebrate the 1 year anniversaries of these horror movies, and we got four of them, and we'll just kind of like talk about them as we know them. So the first one is The Twin, and it came out on May the 6th of last year. And let y'all know, I know it says it is available on Shutter. I recently checked because I was trying to watch this movie. It is not on Shutter. So you can take that as you will of how good it is. It's or not good it is because it's not good enough to stay on Shutter, and Shutter's like the ultimate streaming service for horror movies. So take that as a warning sign. Then the next movie we have is the popular movie of last year of The Sadness. Came out on May the 12th on Shutter, and yeah, we'll have our thoughts on that one. And then one of the worst movies from last year for horror movies is the Firestarter remake. Came out on May the 13th. Had a theater and a Peacock release. I saw it on Peacock and and I'm glad I did. And then lastly, A24's Men was released on May the 20th of last year. Definitely a beautiful cinematography movie, which I'll go into a little detail to talk about. So let's see here. Destiny, where do you want to start? I think we're on the same side. We both have not seen The Twins, so we can skip that one. So what do you think of The Sadness?
The Sadness, I was not a fan of, and I know a lot of people did, but I just did not like it. It was definitely very gory. Um, Definitely a lot of great effects, I would say, but like there's one scene in it that is just really rough.
The eye
And I
hole?
remember like seeing, because I remember being so excited to watch it, like whenever I first heard it without knowing what it was about, but people talking about how crazy it was. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so excited. That's crazy. Cool. Then I found out some of the crazy parts, and I was like, son of a bitch. Like, that's not what I want to watch. But I did watch it. Um, didn't skip because I was also one of my friends on Twitter, she had wanted to see it as well, but she asked like if anyone had timestamps to like not have to watch certain parts. And
Mm-hmm.
so I was like, fuck. I was like, you know what? One morning I woke up, it was like super early. It was like 8 a.m. I was like, I'm gonna watch it. And I got my notebook and I wrote down timestamps of like stuff to skip. Um,
MVP over there.
yes. So I did see the scenes. I did watch all those scenes so I can have like accurate timestamps for her. Um, and it was rough. Um, the main villain that we see, he is the worst, and the way it like is set up, you already immediately feel so uncomfortable, and then you just know that like this is definitely going to be like
Mm-hmm.
when you know what's coming. I'm like, fuck, he is the one. He is the one that it's going to happen. And there's a scene in the hospital that's so just hard. And luckily you don't see much, but you don't have to see because you know. And again, we just talked about like this is like the third movie in a row that has to do with like rape and assault because
Mm-hmm.
it's that there's like four scenes,
Yeah.
that it just happens. And there's one that's like really bad, and it's the one that you don't get to see, but it's just like what is happening is so fucked up. But
Yeah, but the
yeah,
visual in your brain really like takes you there. So like they didn't have
yeah,
to show you. Your brain already goes there, and yeah. And I'm surprised they didn't win the real horror award last year for most like what the fuck moments.
yeah. I didn't vote for it. I was like, no, I'm good on that. Um, but yeah, it's definitely one that stuck with me. Like I remember a lot of the movie. and it's because it is so just like messed up. But it's definitely not like I do like messed up movies, but I don't know, like, and also I felt like I was just like, okay, like the end when it just ended, I was like, I'm so glad I just watched all that just for this to happen. I was like, oh, okay, all right. And then it ended. I was like, okay, well, I'm fucking laying down or something. I'm going to bed. What the fuck did I just watch? So yeah,
I said I woke up for this shit. Thank gummit. Like,
literally, this is what I watched. Cool.
yeah, and I when I watched it, like I get where the phenomenon comes from and why a lot of people like it, but I was just like I liked it, but I didn't like fell in love with it. I was like, this is just something like I've seen before. I thought like for what most people are talking is they were just. I feel like a lot of people built this up more than what it actually was, or like how great it is. I think it's just okay in my opinion. And I'm glad this is the one time where like people like overbuild on this particular movie, like, oh, it's so damn good and all that. And we'll get Robbie's comment because I know he actually got a chance to see this movie early before it came out on Shudder. Wanted to get his comments saying, "The Sadness is one of my favorite horror movies of 2022, but it's not for everyone. I get why people will hate it or not be interested, but if you like zombie infection films, it's worth checking out." And I'll probably say that if you got a strong stomach or certain things don't bother you, check it out. But honestly, like you could put this like in the middle of your watch list.
Yeah, I definitely will agree. I think it was overhyped because I just saw everyone talking about it, and then I was watching it, and even besides all the stuff that like I don't care for in the movie, even besides all that, like the story itself, I was just like, oh, like it's
Same
really not anything
story.
we haven't seen before, too. And so
Mm-hmm.
like I was so surprised that it was so well like talked about because it was just like I was like, okay, I've seen movies like this before, maybe not as gory or like as like like the effects don't look as insane as these do, but you know. So yeah, definitely like I think I gave it like a 3 out of 5.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't
I think.
absolutely hate it or anything, but I was just like, oh, it was very underwhelming, and then there's parts that I just did not like. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's definitely disappointing.
Yeah, like I gave it a 4 out of 5, but it's one of those 4 out of 5s for me where I will forget about it completely. So it's not one of the great 4 out of 5s I've ever give. So possibly I might need to go back and give it a 3 because 3 is just my like more like basic kind of like movie rating for movies. Like it's good, but you take it for what you want with it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's The Sadness. And I'll say Firestarter for last because I know you have not seen A24's Men, so I'll go ahead and quickly talk about that one. A24's Men is one of those movies from last year of what the fuck did I just watch? Like I like it had a great first half. Like the first half did everything great like it's supposed to do of A24ness. Did amazing. But once we get to that second half, I felt like they just went too far left field on the movie and just really just like what are we doing here? I feel like they've like really lost a lot of purpose, and plus there's this like one scene too is absolutely disgusting, which I would have told you to skip it, that particular scene because it's absolutely disgusting for what you mentioned that you do not like. That
Mm-hmm.
has it, so definitely not. But for A24's Men, I thought it was okay. It was first off one of the most beautiful cinematography movies of last year. I will say that it was shot beautifully. But other than that, that's the only real nice thing I could say about. Other than the main girl and the guy, those actors and actresses did a great job. Especially that guy who had to play multiple versions of himself. He did
Mm-hmm.
phenomenal, and the main girl did great too. But other than that, not really much more I can say on the nice level. So I just gave it a solid 3 out of 5. And you can
Yeah,
just
that's
take your
one that
time.
like I remember the trailer, the cinematography, like the part where she's like in like the sort of tunnel, it looks beautiful. And it's also like an interesting movie. Again, you know, directed by a man. It's like, what do you
What are we
are
doing
you
here?
like? You know, it's like, are you really the one to like you know tell the story? So it's like it's just interesting whenever I see like movies like this that are then like directed by a man. I'm just like, oh okay, all right. I feel like sometimes you know female perspective is pretty important when telling stories that are supposed to be from like a female perspective, but like whatever. Um, maybe I'll watch it at some point because I do want to watch it. It is like one of there's only a couple movies that I still haven't seen from last year that I'm still trying to like get through. So this is
Mhm.
still one that I want to watch. It's just not one that I'm rushing to watch, but I do want
Mhm.
to check it out at some point.
Yeah, and again, you could take your time with it, like middle of the road, like on the watch list. And yes, Alex Garland definitely had the tendency to go up his own ass. Like, and this was definitely one of them because I did not know what the hell he wanted to accomplish with the second act of the movie. Again, I legit first act of the movie, I gave it a golden reel, 5 out of 5. But once it hits that second one, I like immediately went to like 2 out of 5, and with averaging out, it went to like 3 out of 5. So just I was actually it was one of my more disappointing movies of last year. Like it's just like a big WTF. I even remember talking to Jess from Discount Final Girl about it because we were just like, what happened? Like we couldn't even
No,
figure out what the hell happened. So yeah, he had that tendency for sure. Um and you're welcome, Gavin. We're good cure for hangovers.
mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's for sure.
we'll just shout in your ear and all that and just wake you up. And
Exactly.
Luis Armando, what's going on, man? Say hello. If that's the right accent, that is. So, all right, the last movie. Speaking of freaking like movies that can get set on fire, Firestarter. Oh my god. Definitely, I think I might have had this as the worst horror movie of last year. Desi, do you feel the same on this?
It was definitely it was just so bland and it was so and I haven't even seen the original Firestarter and I've heard like it's
You
not
need
the
to.
best. I've heard it's like, some of it's maybe not the best. So I was like, watching this and it's not like I had seen it. Like I know what the story is about and everything, but I hadn't seen it, so I don't even have anything to really compare it to either. And I was still so disappointed because I do like to watch remakes first because I feel like in some cases the remakes don't not in every, situation. But a lot of times the remakes aren't as good as the original. So I do like to watch remakes first and then go back to the original. And so I watched it and I was like watching it at work and I was just like, oh my God, it's still fucking going. And I was also doing other stuff at work too. And then I was like, Jesus, like what is happening? And I remember there is a certain, I can't remember what the score was,
Oh
but
my god.
there's a certain score that I fucking had to pause it. Cause like this was done by, you know,
John
Cody
Crawford. Yeah,
Carpenter, John
Cody.
Carpenter, Dave Davies. So it's like all the same trio that scored Halloween 2018 through ends, and there is a fucking score in Firestarter that is literally Halloween Kills. It is
Mhm.
the like exact same. So I felt like so much of this music was just like left over from when they did Halloween and just put in this because like it didn't even fit. I felt like it didn't fit with this movie, but it was literally Halloween. It was like I think it's the part in Halloween Kills where he's like picking up the mask off the ground and that music kicks in and
Mhm.
there's something like this that's just like it. I had to go back a few times. Then I went to Halloween Kills, found the track, listened to it, and I was just like, what the fuck? Like, come on now. That's the same thing. But yeah. Um Firestarter was just boring.
Mhm.
It
Yeah,
was
it
forgettable. Like I don't even remember that much from it. And
unfortunately I remember one thing about it. And that was the unnecessary scene with the cat.
I do remember the cat died.
That was
Yeah.
so unnecessary.
Yeah.
Like, just why animal cruelty. I bet PETA was not happy on that particular scene. But yeah, there's that one. And the other thing I'll mention too, I felt so bad for Zac Efron in this movie because you could tell he's the only one that was trying. I bet you it was one of those situations like, hey, remember that favor I did for you? Well, here's my return card. Do this movie. Like, I felt so
Yeah.
bad
He's
for
like
Zac Efron.
he's a really good actor. Like, yeah, like he's probably like for me, like Troy Bolton. Like I grew up I fucking loved High School Musical. I was obsessed with High School Musical. But he is such a good actor in other stuff. Like 17 again, that movie is so funny. He is so good
Mhm.
in that movie. And he's playing the, like himself, but like differently, which is so funny to see. And then like he was in I think The Lucky One, which is like a sad, like dramatic sort of like love story type movie, like a rom. It's not a com. It's
Oh my
definitely a
god, I saw
rom.
the commercial for that movie all the damn
Yeah, and
time.
like that movie's like sad. So like he is like a good actor. Like he does like really good stuff outside of like what I know him as. So it's always so cool to see him like acting in other things. And so I was excited that he was in a horror movie. And then I kept seeing reviews, like everyone's like, oh, I don't know. And I watched it like that day it was added to Peacock. Like I was so excited to watch it. And then I was just like, yeah, no. It's just so boring. It's just one of those movies. It to me it kind of feels like when Pet Sematary got made, it was only made because they were running out of time for the rights for that movie, and so they hurried up, made a movie. And that's what this felt like too. Like it felt like there's no real like thought or care or anything put into the movie.
No heart. No, you can say
Exactly.
no
It felt like
fire.
they were just like, oh, we only have this movie for 3 days. Let's hurry up and put one out there fast. And that's what it felt like. It just felt like there's nothing actually, no like substance to it, I guess.
Yeah, and the best comment I saw, the best described this movie, because you say you watched it on Peacock, and this is just perfectly stated. Firestar almost made me walk out of my own house. That is the best way to describe it. It was that bad. So I can easily tell you all, skip it.
Yeah, and you know, like, I do love going to, like, the theaters to see horror movies, even, like, but when it's, like, a horror, because, like, I don't go to the theater time, like, every time a horror movie comes out, but usually if it's one that I'm, like, a little hesitant about, I'm just like, oh, I'll just, like, wait. So I know a lot of people, like, are, like, against when movies go to streaming the same time. I like it because I don't have to leave my house. I can go home from work and just, like, watch it that Friday, and it's nice to, like, you know, so that's how this was. I watched it that Friday at work whenever, like, I got there because I was like, oh, like, I can watch this now. So I'll just, like, watch it while I'm doing some stuff. And even then, like, I kept pausing it, looking at my phone for a second and going back and continuing it because I was just like, Jesus. But I wanted to get through it. I just wanted to, like, push through and watch it, and it was just so boring.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because I did like the original, and the original has Drew Barrymore that plays the main character, and I thought she was very great at it. But definitely it was not the best movie, but is like country miles better than the remake. So remake, do not watch it. The Jesus Custom Footwear, what's going on, man? We are actually just got done talking about our last movie, unless if you had anything else from 2022. Nope. Okay. So before we just start to wrap thing up with like a nice little bow on it, I did some numbers about the worst and best with the movies we talked about. So let's start with the worst of the worst. And definitely Firestarter is the worst of the worst, with the exception of The Twin by the Rotten Tomato audience score. So pretty much for both of these movies, stay far, far away from them, especially with The Twin being a Shudder original, and Shudder even kicked it off its streaming services. So you could just tell right then and there, which I feel bad for because Teresa Palmer's in it and I like her. But that is the worst of May. But the best of May, which the movies you do need to watch here, Revenge being the top one from the Rotten Tomato critics, The Sadness being the best from the audience, Thousand Ways to Die, to my surprise, won the IMDb out of all the movies we talked about, and Letterboxd is saying Revenge is the best one that you need to tune in and watch, and I could not agree more with that.
Yeah, so, I would agree. All of them go into these, a good amount of these, like, you know, discretion advised, but a lot of them are very good.
Discretion's advised, exactly. So, all right, I think we are good in the comment here. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and wrap things up. Desi, once again, appreciate you hanging out, talk about some good old horror movies. Anything coming up on the channel, or not channel? Sorry, anything coming up on other people's channels?
Fear Freaks. That's about it.
All right, and that would be Wednesday, know what we're talking about.
Yeah, Wednesday, Fear Freaks, but
I'm going to assume that's just going to be a Q&A.
We wanted to do a topic, just have not came up with one.
Uh-oh. Hey, you got plenty of time. So be sure to check out Fear Freaks. That is Brett and Destiny's channel. They do on Braden's channel on Wednesdays around 9 o'clock Eastern time. So you do not want to miss out on that. And on the Goodwill Hunting side of things, either tomorrow or Tuesday, I haven't decided which one yet, I'm going to be releasing the commentary that me and Brad did for our Patreons of The Descent. So if you want to watch The Descent with me and Brad's commentary, you can do that. That'll be available here soon. afternoon. And Thursday, I believe at the moment, we're going to be doing the continuation of our Friday the 13th Watch Party series with Jason Goes to Hell. So we get to finally tackle the worst of the worst this Thursday. So yeah, that is it. Destiny, you got anything else to say?
No, thank you
Uh,
to all those that watch.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for taking time out of your all's day for Memorial Day weekend. Again, we understand, but we appreciate you all hanging out with us. And we'll see you next month because next month we have some bangers to talk about for sure, especially with Jaws 2 for a Jaws anniversary next month. So, yeah, we'll see you next time and have a great day.